Hey, welcome back to the BVB podcast. My name's Jacob, joined as always by Carver. Another home game, another win. Like, why are we even sad or depressed, or why would we have any doubt in this team when we have a home match, Carver? How are you
I'm
doing?
doing great. Dortmund won, and Kendrick Lamar dropped an album within a span of 24 hours. So I'm kind of on cloud nine right now.
I did appreciate the Dortmund Mecha Kendrick collab, or not collab, but the album album artwork that they released. And I said something about in our Discord. I said something about like, oh, they knew this was. Someone's like, they knew about the Kendrick album. I was like, no, like they just knew that Mecha was going to cook somehow. And I don't know, because they put that out before the match, and then Mecha showing up and kind of showing out. I
Right.
almost said yesterday, as we're recording on Sunday. But yeah, I don't know, man. Just great match. Got some good vibes. It's sunny. It's a little warmer today. I'm feeling pretty good. I have drinking coffee right now because we're recording at like noon on Sunday. Just good vibes all around.
It really is. We lucked out with the weather over here. But yeah, big 3 points here. Another game at home, of course, keeping a perfect record, building some momentum before the Champions League, and of course, their Klassiker next week. It was just very much needed, and also getting a bunch of players back from injury. I mean, Gio Reyna was expected to be back soon, but I think him and Duranville seem to be back sooner than originally anticipated. Adeyemi is on his way back. Hopefully, he can have some minutes against Bayern. That would be optimistic, but either way, that'd be really, really awesome to have him back. And yeah, going forward here, we're looking at some encouraging points and um, squad coming back.
Yeah, it was mentioned that the international break came at the perfect time. I feel like it could have came a little sooner with our injuries, but I mean, it seemed to work out. I know last week we saw images of like, I mean, Duranville, Reyna, and Adeyemi even getting back into training. But one with Adeyemi getting back into training and knowing he wasn't going to be quite ready, had no real clue like how close Gio or Duranville were going to be, like you mentioned.
Right.
And it was great to see them not only in on the team sheet, but actually getting some minutes later on in the match too. And yeah, I mean, so many people come back. Anton back in the lineup, starting for the first time in a while. Rierson gets the start again. We had Couteau on the bench. We had, I think it was 4 or 5 first team players on the bench, still some youngsters in
Yeah.
there, but from what we've been seeing, pretty nice. The only unfortunate thing is the day of, like, we get the news, all these players are coming back, all these players are available, and then the morning of the match, we hear Girassi is out, and we don't really know why. Now it's been reported it's an infection. It looks like I don't know if he's going to be ready for Zagreb. That's what they're hoping for the Champions League match on Wednesday, but it's iffy right now, so don't know if he's going to be back. But I'll just run through the lineup and what the bench looked like as we're talking about it. Kobel back, didn't mention him either. Kobel slots right back into goal. Rierson out at right back. Benzabaini in the lineup again, the left back. Anton and Schlotterbeck are 2 center backs. We had Mecha in the middle, along with Sabitzer and Brandt. And then sorry, as I'm reading this, it has Bayer out on the right, Gittens on the left, and Mullen up top. I'm pretty sure that was a little more Bayer playing that forward striker position than what was actually listed. Yeah, that's the lineup. And then, as we mentioned, back on the bench, Gross, which, I mean, he had an international break now, but like he's probably needed a rest anyway. So Gross starts on the bench. Couteau there with Reyna, Duranville, Kabar, who we also saw come to the match, Lures, Campbell, and Paulina. So a lot more first team players this time around, as I mentioned. But yeah, your thoughts on the lineup coming to this match? Obviously, the no Girassi was a little worrisome, but ended up being no problem at all.
Right. Yeah, Gersi is going to get some much needed rest, albeit he's going to be probably a bit more exhausted over the weekend with just the illness and infection he had. Bit of a gamble to have Bayer at number 9, but you don't really have much of a choice to try anything different. And with the confidence that he's been gaining with himself and just the shifts that he's been putting in these past few fixtures, he's really asserted himself well as at number 9, scoring pretty early on in the game from a build-up, no less. Sweet, simple play, Brandt dropping deep, one touch passing, and then that Royce-esque touch from Bayer to get himself in front of goal, and a sweet finish from him. So, great for him to get even more confidence early on from him at that striker role. Not too many other comments on the lineup as a whole, but just this team collectively was so engaged today. it's something that you don't see from Dortmund too often this season, especially on the road. At home we're a bit more attentive, but just collectively the team was just really engaged today. Getting to those first and second balls. In the 20th minute, Dortmund won something like 70% of the duels, so they were getting to all these challenges. But on the flip side of that, and Stefan tweeted this too. Freiburg looked exactly how Dortmund look on road games. They're completely uninterested, asleep half the time. They looked so defeated from even the first like 20 minutes or so. They were not scanning whatsoever, so they're constantly getting the ball picked from Bayer tracking back and coming in from behind, or Sabitzer coming in from behind, Ryerson coming in from behind too. It's just a complete opposite performance of what you would expect sometimes from other teams, that are playing against Dortmund, because you play whenever you want to beat Dortmund. It's obviously easier said than done, but if you want to have more of a chance, you have a go at us. You're playing on the front foot, you're pressing higher, you're putting us on our heels, because Dortmund have trouble sometimes playing out of pressure and with their form and their confidence at times. But whenever you're playing, you're asleep at the wheel, Dortmund are going to punish you, and that's exactly what we saw over this game, and it was fun watch.
I was a little hesitant not hesitant. I just because how Dortmund has been, like, you don't know. Granted, we have the best home record in, I think, Europe. Maybe that might be a stretch, but we're incredible at home, right? And we've seen this time and time again. And then where I try not to, what brings me down is the away record. We still got to do it on the road, which we haven't been able to. But before, it might have been on Friday or Thursday, like the Bundesliga put out this graphic on their socials about, just the dominance Dortmund's had over Freiburg over the years, and not only winning, but just goals galore. And my hesitancy with seeing that graphic was they had Şahin and then forgetting his name, but Freiburg's head coach. So they have the two current head coaches on there. And I'm just like, I don't know about this, because it looks like you're giving Şahin credit for all these wins over all these years. And it's just like, that made me just doubt a little bit. Like, I just felt the voodoo magic happening right there. Like, oh, this is where it's going to turn around. And, here we go. But no, Şahin in, and they were able to get the result, again, scoring a ton of goals. I don't know if that's kind of in Freiburg's head. Like, they just know coming in, this is going to be tough. They haven't won.
Since
away.
Like the early 2000s.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah, and since Dortmund, it might have been a different stat there, but their body language just told everything. That's what I'm just going to say real quick. It was telling everything.
All right, pivot a little bit to, we haven't touched on it yet. Emre Can obviously out this game, and should be the next Bundesliga match with red card. Carver's just, we're not doing the live. I guess if you're watching on YouTube, Carver's just got this little smirky grin on his face, and I'm maybe I don't even have to ask the question.
There's so many posts I saw that just thought was pretty funny. People were saying like an Emre Can masterclass today. That was funny.
But with Emre Can being forced out of the side, and us maybe not knowing, I'm going to say knowing, like, Şahin likes Can. Like, we've seen it time and time again. He's had to play. Yes, he has been dropped, and he definitely has been playing him because we simply haven't had anyone else. But was this a blessing? Are we a better side with Emre Can not in the starting 11?
I think that's going to be telling of how we're going to be performing against Bayern, and also just these next few away games too. You can't say enough about how good like Dortmund looked collectively, of course, but just it's a complete opposite performance from Freiburg too. I think you're going to have to go in against an opposition that is more alert, is more engaged. They're not so defeated looking from the jump. They're having a go at Dortmund. That's whenever you can start to see, like, is this team actually starting to really improve? I'm not going to just, take this one anecdote and say that, Emre Can is the problem, because he definitely is a huge factor for sure, but it's not just him too. Metch has been spotty. A handful of our players have been pretty inconsistent for a number of reasons, and I broke that down from one of the videos I posted here recently. But yeah, it certainly helped not having his, risky style of play, and just having more composed players on the ball in midfield. The control of the midfield too was much, much better collectively from Dortmund this game.
Yeah, midfield and defensively, I know he had some decent performances when he stepped into that center back role, but I don't know, and I want your opinion on this too, because maybe I'm just completely biased, and maybe you will be too. I don't know, but I know Anton hasn't like had the best showing either. He's gotten quite a bit of criticism. He hasn't necessarily been the go-to starter when available. I know he's been out for some other reasons too, but again, this might be my personal bias. I felt so much more at ease having like Anton and Schlotterbeck in there. I don't know if it was what I was necessarily seeing, if it what I was making up in my mind, what I thought I was seeing or telling myself, but to not have Chan in that back line and to just have two center backs who are out and out center backs, I felt so much more at ease. And I think Anton did go on to have a pretty good performance too. Him and Schlotterbeck both. Um, Anton's like 91% pass completion. He had like 8 recoveries, 10 passes in the final third, three out of 3 tackles won. Like he had a good performance, but I even think before that, like early on in the match, I was just like, cool. I feel good having 2 center backs here. And maybe it's because the last time we saw Chan, it was because he did something crazy and got a red card, right? Like maybe it was that recency bias or whatnot. But yeah, I thought the back line was great. I also want to give a shout to Benzabaini because I know I've been super critical of him before, especially, I mean, the performances he was having last year, like, and then the injuries he had, and with Matson coming in, like, there's a lot of bias there too, where I was just like, cool, I'm done with this guy already. But I've really been liking what I've seen from him. Last week I touched on like his aerial threat, but even like, I mean, he finished he had the final pass, he got the assist for the Bayer goal after all that buildup, like that great pass through. I think he just likes to run and go at people, and like kind of create space and open up space. Like I really enjoy what I've been seeing from him. And I'll finish out on the back line before I throw it back to you and get your thoughts. But Rierson too, I just love having Rierson back in the side. He just likes to cause chaos and a bit of mayhem, and never really know what he's going to do, but I always love it when I see it.
That's what I was going to jump in with, was Rierson. Just the foundation of trust that's been built among those 4 for this game, I think really did a number for all their performances. It gave them an extra boost. All of them were willing to do more work for each other. Rierson and Benzabaini both are players that are willing to do that dirty work. And Rierson, I've said it a million times, is really underrated with the ball at his feet. Of course, he didn't contribute to a goal this time around, but he still got himself involved in a handful of great attacks. Benzabaini, like you mentioned, 2 assists. He got himself into some great positions out wide too, really, really high up the pitch. And Schlotterbeck and Anton both. Yeah, I mean, defensively sound. Of course, they got the clean sheet. Schlotterbeck too, 96% of his passes completed, 75% were long balls. Of his long balls were also completed as well. So just that back line in general, really, really sound, solid collective performance. And it goes higher up the field as well. I mean, Gittens too, 2 goal contributions. Took him a while to kind of get him into the game here. I mean, he was always involved, but he really started to find his feet as the game went on. Brandt, of course, getting his first goal as well, dropping deep, recovering the ball too as like a defender at times. So a well-rounded performance from him as well. You mentioned Mecha bossing the midfield. He got himself a goal too. It's 2 in the league so far. Can Mecha build on that? Hopefully, time will tell. And then, I mean, of course, too, Bayer too. I mean, he's continuing to really improve, and he's got encouraging performances behind him now as well. So hopefully they can all finish out the second half of the season with some momentum and get us higher up the table right now, because we're doing a good job of, Leipzig continuing to drop points. Thank God. Leverkusen almost did as well against Heidenheim. They came back, but, we're starting to slowly climb the table again. And somehow top 4 is still within reach with, the amount of losses we've had and the road form that we've had.
Yeah, I was going to touch on jump back to Bayer, and I would talk about the midfield a little bit too after. But I think this is such an important time for Bayer. I mean, he got his first goal just a few matches ago. I know he had a pretty good showing with the German on the international break with the U21s, with the Germany squad. So for him to come back from international break and get another goal so quick into this match when Guirassy out, right? You're getting your chance to play as the target man up top. You are the striker, even if this isn't necessarily your out and out role, and maybe he can work up to that. I mean, he's still so young. He's still so small. Like, I think he can bulk up quite a bit. But for him to come in after the international break, have to fill in those shoes, with Gersi out and score. Granted, it was a great team goal, but to get on the end of it and to get that finish, like slotted away, so good for his confidence. And I hope that maybe Zagreb, he can go in and get another goal. Like if he can just keep building on this, like it's such an important time. And because if he can just keep going, keep climbing, it'll be huge for us. I'm thinking more on fast forward a little bit, like say Mullen, like there's the talk of Mullen. We touched on him last week, and if Mullen were to go this winter, I'm already worried on our depth, and we've seen Bayer now play on the right a bit more in a couple games, and like I know we have Gittens, who I think you'd say if Mullen's out, it's Gittens and Adeyemi if they're both healthy, playing on the wings. But then, I mean, you can't always rely on that because Adeyemi is out right now. So I don't know. I'm just, if everyone can get firing, that's the goal, right? That's the goal. But
Yeah.
I think it's such a crucial point in his career and his time with Dortmund right now. And before I go off on tangents on every position everywhere, I'll just say it's a good time for Bayer, and I hope he can just keep cruising.
Yeah, he looks a lot more comfortable playing centrally, and you saw the majority of our attacks coming down the center right slot of the pitch there, and that didn't come just from Bayer. Of course, Mullen gotten himself involved in a handful of those half spaces. Ryerson did as well. Sabitzer at times, but yeah, I get what you're saying though with the winger situation, because Adeyemi is pretty much exclusively a left midfielder, left wing back. He's not a player to cut in. He's just making those runs down the left hand side. Gittens, the complete opposite of that, where he plays on the left, but he's always going to be cutting inside. So he's not someone that really has played right wing much at all for us. And then, of course, very, very, very small sample size, but Duranville, for the most part, has also been playing on the left. So after Mullen leaves, and if it's just Bayer, when he likes to be playing more centrally, I've said this before, yeah, I mean, investment is needed in a handful of areas. The back line for sure, the central midfield for sure. But also now you're going to be looking at either, if you're wanting to be playing Bayer, more up top, if Gerasi's not available, you're going to need another right winger. Or if you're going to be playing him on the right, you're going to maybe need another number 9. Of course, Bayer could try to do both. At times he has, but I think there needs to be a bit more depth there. I don't know if maybe Reina has played there a few times too. I don't know if he's going to slot in there, but just depends how the team wants to shape up here. And hopefully we have the funds to do at least one of those things, because, we're still, even though we've been knocked out of the Pokal, we still got a Champions League run to make and a lot of form still to make up for in the Bundesliga too. So we need all hands on deck for this sort of thing.
Yeah. And on the Reina note, I mean, maybe this is good. We haven't hit on all the goals yet, but touch on Reina a bit. Like, I think he can play that right mid, specifically if, like, I know the formations, I love to remind everyone that formations, you can't just take what's down on paper because it's always kind of shifting and moving. But if it is this little more like right mid opposed to a right winger, like if he's strictly out wide, I think that is a position Reina can do. Like, he's played that a lot before. I mean, even a winger too. But like if it is this a little more mid position, like that is an option. But can we rely on him too? Like, I don't know. I would love if he's healthy and he can come in and if there's a spot for him to come into. But the question is if he's gonna stay healthy this whole season. And on that note, he was back, and what I enjoyed was actually him coming in and playing in that 10, him coming in for Brandt and being in the middle of the park, because that's where I want to see him. Like, that's what I want to see him develop more at. That's kind of what you see him play for the USMNT when he's in there, more of kind of like a dual 8, but it's in the middle of the park, and I think that's where he's so good. So with everything I said about him playing out on the right, it's not necessarily where I want to see him. I think it's an option, but we didn't see a lot from him because at the point when he comes in, they had their red card. We're up 3-0. I'm glad he got in to get minutes. This was a good opportunity for him to just get comfortable minutes and build some confidence. Say the same thing with Duranville's seen a few more minutes here and there, but we see Kabar come on later too. Like, this was a good match for them to come in and while the game was kind of gone at that point already, but especially in the center of the park, like that gives me so much confidence, and I hope it's not like hope that confidence doesn't die anytime soon with another injury. But I love seeing him in the middle of the park.
Yeah, I mean, those last 30 minutes, we were going up 3 and 4-0, and then also they got the red card as well, right? So it's a very, very stress, worry-free game for Rain. That's what I was going to say, is I really like the substitutions from Shaheen as well.
Yeah.
To get Duranville in, to get Rain in, some match fitness, some confidence. in a game that at the end of the day, just it didn't matter since it was already put to bed. Yeah, Kuto as well, getting some minutes. So, in all areas of the pitch, we are getting some reinforcements, some much needed reinforcements.
Yeah, Kuto's been an interesting one. I know, like, I think we expected a lot more with him coming in. Kind of he's had 2 pretty good seasons on loan at Girona. He's a Man City player. I don't remember, I think we have him on loan, but it's obligation to buy. I don't remember the exact terms of his contract. I think he's basically a Dortmund player. And I think the terms of that, like him being on loan now, I know people expect him to come in and be a starter, and we haven't seen that yet. And I think it is just give it, we have Rierson there, right? And as we just mentioned, I want Rierson to be my starter right now. And Kuto just hasn't shown much. And I think that's okay. I think it's a thing we just have to remind ourselves, coming in a new country, it's a new league, especially since he's been on loan at Girona for a couple of years, but still a Man City player. So back and forth between Spain and England and now to Germany. So there can be a lot there, and it might just take some time. And I think that's okay. It's just something we got to remind ourselves. So I'm glad that I want to be real excited and be like, cool, let's see something from this guy. And you get glimpses, but I think we just got to remember to give him some time.
Yeah. Totally different player as well, right? I mean, him and Rierson are polar opposites when it comes to just what you're wanting from a fullback, for reasons I already mentioned. And whenever you are looking for options more on the right and advanced positions, Kuto could be that person as well. I'm just wanting us to have depth in every position, ideally, of course. So, I mean, if we're looking to, have Bayer going back, if he wants to play more central, and then Kuto could be more in advanced position, sure. But then now we're looking at the same exact problem in the back line. So it just really I guess, depends who's healthy. And it's very a case by case basis of the situation you have in front of you. But either way, yeah, glad for Kuto to get some match fitness and confidence there.
I'm going to say, I almost don't want to say it because we haven't seen anything relatively close to it. But I wonder if he's a shout. I know he can play a little more higher up, maybe more of a wingback role. Not that I'm calling for wingbacks, but I wonder if he's a shout to play further up the pitch, if needed. Why I'm hesitant to say that, say Malin goes, can he step up and be an option there? Why I'm hesitant to say it is because we're still so short in our fullback options, and for now, he is a fullback option. So I mean, it's maybe an option, but I don't know. That could be a thing. We have to talk about, for one, Mecha, that goal was insane. It worked out where the keeper just wasn't ready for a shot. And my reaction was just what the heck just happened? And not in a because I was doubting him or anything. I was just wasn't prepared for it. It happened so quick. Banger of goal. I'll take it. Take your chances while you can. So good on him. And then Brandt, man. Brandt boys flying.
Yeah. That's the consistent quality that I've always seen from Mecha, even whenever there wasn't much of anything else that I was impressed by, from his early days here at Dortmund. It's just his shooting ability. He has got a decent boot in him. So he's going to be taking some whacks from distance. And I'm someone personally as a coach who wants my players to do that, to test the keepers, to keep them honest. Of course, if you're keeping it on goal. So good on him for, sniffing out that opportunity. I think there's a lot of those games or moments in games that, often are overlooked from players where they could just simply have a shot. And even if it doesn't go in, you have someone that's going to be hungry and have that desire to follow up. And that's a player like Bayer, that could be doing that to get those rebounds. So yeah, nice for Mecha. And like you mentioned, for Brandt getting his first goal, we have been needing to see a bit more from him as a 10. He has been running to the ground and playing virtually every minute so far. Yes, but now he's got bit of a break. He got some minutes for the national team, but for the most part, he's getting more rest. So, good for him for really stepping up here as captain as well for this team.
I mean, real quick before we kind of move on to previewing the next couple of matches, Gittens just doing his Gittens thing. I love to see it, cutting inside, just banging it in the top corner across. Such a good goal. I don't know what else to say. It's the same thing we've seen from Gittens. People just can't seem to stop him, even if they got to know by now what he wants to do. They know he's going to cut inside and slap it across, but still just to do it so many times over and over again.
It's very Iron Robin-esque. I mean, of course, on the other side with the other foot, but yeah, exactly what he's going to do, or even Messi-esque. He's going to do, but you still can't stop him too. So I love that, he's consistently got the confidence in him to keep trying and keep trying, and he's got the perseverance and persistence there. So, and he got rewarded for it. That's 6 goal contributions now in 11 games in the league.
Breakout year, even though Carver's doubting.
It is. That one, I doubted him once in the summer. Yeah. I wouldn't even call it a doubt. Actually, I'll take that back. That was harsh.
No, I mean you weren't even doubting. You said, I said this is going to be a breakout year, and you were like, I think he already broke out. Like, no. So if anything,
but he hasn't to this extent. So I was definitely wrong on that sense. But yeah, either way.
All right, looking ahead. So it's got Dinamo Zagreb on Wednesday, but real quick though, because after that is obviously Der Klassiker, Bayern, or Dortmund hosting Bayern. That's the big key. It is a home match. It's at Westfalenstadion. And I do want to give a little plug and shout. I know there's going to be a ton of different watch parties, a lot of people gathering all across the country. The guys in DC, Brooklyn Borussen in New York, out in Tilo, and everyone out in LA. And if you live in St. Louis, like Carver and I do, we will be at Amsterdam Tavern with, I know Chaz is going to be there and quite a few of the other Borussia STL people. So if you're in St. Louis, make sure you join us. If you're not in St. Louis, I'm not just plugging St. Louis here. That's just because that's where Carver and I live. But just highly encourage you to, this is a really good chance to get out and meet some Dortmund fans. And if you don't know if there's like a watch party in your area, I know just keep an eye on the like Black and Yellow Dortmund social accounts, because they'll be putting they'll have a post dedicated that will say where the watch parties are. We'll make sure we share that to our friends at DC and like I said, Brooklyn, Dallas, LA. Like we'll be sharing all those posts. I know there is a newer supporters group in Miami too that we shared a couple days ago too, so you can check them out. But reach out if you need help finding supporter group or people in your area. I'd also encourage you to join our Discord if you are not there already. There's a link in the description of this episode where you can join that, because we have built a really cool little community with people from all across the country. And I mean, I think we got some people from Germany and maybe Sweden and Norway in there too. Like, so it's just a great way to connect with people. I've said it before, but I deleted Twitter off my phone. So during matches, I am not on Twitter, and I am just in our Discord chatting with everyone. And it's a really cool time. And like, there's been a couple people who've actually met in real life after meeting on our Discord, because they found out they were in the same city to watch Dortmund together. So this is the weekend to do it, coming up with Dortmund hosting Bayern. It's going to be a big one. So
this is the first time in several years that I do feel a little bit more optimistic against Bayern, now that the psychology has finally been broken with us winning at the Allianz Arena and that 2-0, that famous 2-0 here just earlier this year. Of course, they battered us in the reverse fixture at home, and this has been like the repeating just pain for years now of us hosting in the fall, kind of getting battered, and then going to the spring, and then it just being even worse somehow. But just, I think, that does a lot for the players' psychology here, that it still played in the side just in March, and hopefully we can get some sort of result with the momentum. I know Bayern is still undefeated. I really don't think we're going to be able to pull off a win here. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm feeling good enough for us to maybe get a draw here, depending on if we're still healthy and get a good result in Europe here during the week against Zagreb. But yeah, I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw
for the Bayern match.
Yeah.
Okay. Real quick too, leading to Bayern, like I think this Champions League match can be so important for us. While looking back, and the Mainz match shattered so much for me. That really hurt. That one hurt. And I know we still need to get that monkey off our back about winning in the Bundesliga on the road, and we're not going to have a chance yet. But I still think this Freiburg match was really important because it was such a dominant display and such a dominant win. It wasn't like we've had some other good results, but it was like you know what I mean? They weren't the easiest, or they weren't the prettiest performances. Like we've had these moments of brilliance that kind of won us some games here and there. So to win that Freiburg match so dominantly, I think that can do so much to build the confidence. And because the Mainz match was like so long ago now, it's like you go off to international break, you clear your minds, you do everything, come back, have a really big win. And because this Zagreb match is on the road, I think that can be a pretty chaotic away environment too. If we can get a result there, I think that's just going to, again, no, it's not winning away in the Bundesliga, which is what we need to do. But if we can build from this Freiburg match, have a good Champions League showing, that should put us in pretty good step for this Bayern match, especially that being at home, right? Like we know how important it is to keep this form at home. Like, and we don't want Bayern to be the ones to ruin it for us. I think it just, this away a Champions League match can be so important. And it's a team we should and want to be beating. It can be tough. It can be since, especially it being an away match, but I think it just helps so much with our confidence moving forward.
Yeah, it'll be a big test. Like you mentioned, another away match, and I'm just hoping we're going to stay healthy more than almost anything. We are overperforming here in the Champions League, and I'm just hoping we all keep the same people healthy and bring even more into fitness for players like Duranville, Reina, Kuto, and then be fully prepared for Munich at the weekend.
You want to know something crazy though with Zagreb in the Champions League? They are sitting in 16th, currently ahead of Bayern Munich by 1 point. Real Madrid, AC Milan, who we already beat, so who cares? Atletico Madrid, PSG, Stuttgart, Leipzig, and those are kind of the big names. But it's just funny that they are in the Champions League right now, currently ahead of Bayern. So I mean, we beat them. We can beat Bayern. No big deal. It's all good.
Yeah, I wish I could give you any insight to their style of play or anything, but they played. Maybe a listener has seen a few of their games or so because they played like likes of Salzburg already in the Champions League and Monaco as well, and even Munich when they lost 9-2. So hopefully it'll be a similar scoreline.
Yeah. So we got, as we said, that game is coming up Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern kickoff, and then the big ones are Klassiker Bayern Saturday. 12:30 Eastern kickoff, 11:30 if you're here in St. Louis with us. You gave your prediction for. Do you have
2-2, yep.
Do you have a Dinamo Zagreb prediction?
3-1, us.
3-1. I was gonna say 3-1 too. That's a good one. And then Bayern, I'm gonna say 2-1 because I just want to predict a win. Yeah, I don't know. I think the lineup will be pretty similar. Maybe we see Gross come in for, I don't know who needs a break, but I think we might see Gross in this Champions League match. I would love to see Reina get some more minutes in this one. I don't know, maybe it's start this one, maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, I hope we can see some more meaningful minutes from Reina, especially if he can give Brandt a break. Could be very, very helpful. But yeah. I mean, you got anything else, Carver? I think I'm kind of.
No, sir. Appreciate you guys always listening. Check out the video I posted on our YouTube channel if you want. It's a lot shorter, and I tried to condense as much information in a digestible way into it as possible. So give that a spin if you want, if you're still even here.
Yeah, I'll link that too. Because I mean, you haven't talked about it too much. So, and especially if you're just a podcast listener, maybe you missed it. Carver posted a video on our YouTube, him breaking down just kind of the struggles of Dortmund's season so far. It's a really good, quick little listen. It's like a BVB pod bite-sized mini episode. And there's a lot of good insight onto what's been going on this season and the struggles, and just a lot of really, I mean, the Shaheen photo of him like looking so sad is so funny.
I thought it was very fitting.
I don't know where that photo can't be real, right? Like I've seen it on Twitter before, but I know, 100%. But I'm like, how did that happen? How did that get out? Who edited that photo and sent it out into the world?
There's crazy. A lot of other good ones with Terzic too. I mean, it's Dortmund, right? So I think this is whenever he was in Antalyaspor, but a lot of good photos for that for a lot of coaches.
Now, make sure you check out that video. Join us on Discord. I'll say it again. As I said last week, we are on Blue Sky. If you have left Twitter, you can find us there too. That's been a really cool, I mean, it's new, fun Twitter with less hate and negativity. But there's been quite a few people finding us on there too. So we appreciate you guys finding us there. Instagram, Threads, we're on all the socials. And you can find everything linked in the description of this episode. We appreciate you guys hanging out and listening, and we will see you later.